r/ask Reddit. What's an oddly specific fear of yours? That someone is hiding under my car and is going to slice my Achilles tendon when I go to unlock the door. Welp, I've got a new fear now. I have a phobia that I'm going to go ice skating one day, slip on the ice, my hand will lay out, and someone will skate over my hand and slice my fingers off. One time I ice skated, fell, and someone cut a small part of my sleeve off. I'll never understand how my arm survived. That people are judging me for the speed of my windshield wipers when it is raining. Not gonna lie, I totally judge other drivers for the speed of their windshield wipers. Whenever I got my curtains open at night, I always think someone is gonna look at me through the window. No matter on what floor I lay, the curtain stays closed. I woke up one night to hear someone in the dark banging on my bedroom window. After a moment of fear, I hear baby, let me in. It's cold. My drunk boyfriend was outside my house in 15 degrees Fahrenheit weather at 2:30 am. New fear recognized. Then after you let him in and snuggle for a bit, just as you're about to fall asleep, you get a text from your boyfriend, sorry I couldn't come over tonight babe. It was too cold to walk. Becoming schizophrenic. I can't imagine not being able to tell the difference between reality and imagination. Same. Nobody ever plans to become schizophrenic. There was one point when I was worrying about it so much that I worried the worrying would make it happen. I know what you mean here, but I will be devil's advocate and say some people do plan to become schizophrenic and that they have early symptoms, have seen their parents go through it, and have the onset diagnosis. It's not a surprise for many people. Part of the treatment can be having patients learn their triggers of hallucinations and actively apply coping mechanisms to situations they may expect to hallucinate, high stress situations, and the like. Walking barefoot onto a used syringe needle. Recurring dream for some reason. I think that's pretty understandable. Luckily you have a high chance that any needle you might step on in a pool of water would be long eroded and any disease-ridden blood decompose beyond being dangerous. A simple tetanus shot and you'd be good to go. Stepping on glass is a far more dangerous hazard, as you could sever your toe, slice your Achilles, or worse be stuck out from shore and attract sharks, crocodiles, and other predators. That when I'm walking through natural water, lake, river, etc., I'll accidentally stick my big toe into the eye socket of a human skull. I now have a new fear I didn't want. When I walk by those office paper cutters, I get nervous that I might suddenly decide to put my hand in there and cut off a couple digits. It's like the call of the void, but for office supplies. I used a nanny for an old lady who was missing her ring and pinky fingers from her right hand. She was very intimidating and it took me a while to ask how it happened. She just said those two awful words, paper cutter, although she was probably using the ones in school from 70 years or so again. No safety measures taken at all. I hate walking up staircases where the backspace between the stairs is open. It feels like I'm going to slip through. Not a huge fan of stairs in general, TBH. My issue with that is that someone or something might grab me. That my mind will slowly be taken over by mental illness and there is nothing I can do about it. Dude, me. 2. Lewy body dementia and Alzheimer's both run in my family. I'm terrified. I can't stand the thought of not being in control of my brain and knowing what's going on. Walking on manhole covers or grates. In my mind, I will step on them, they will give way, and I will fall into the middle of the earth. I step over or around them every time. My husband thinks it's funny to step directly on them and pretend to fall. If you live in the Midwestern USA, the grates you're walking on were likely made by East Jordan Ironworks out of Michigan, and they're old, but damn near indestructible. Because my life is weird, I've seen multiple people take sledgehammers to them, doesn't even leave a dent, and hurts the person swinging the hammer worse. Getting into a car accident with someone who is driving with me for the first time, I would look and feel like such a dong, especially if it was someone I was trying to take on a date. This happened to a guy I was dating. We had just started dating very recently and decided to get some food late at night, so he was driving me for the first time. and like 3 minutes into the trip he got in his first accident. No notable damage to the other dude's car, but his got banged up, along with his self-esteem. Getting stuck in a chimney face up in a sort of a V shape where you can't really move and die a slow painful death while thinking of your loved ones and crying for help. Change it to cave, and that's a huge fear of mine. I really don't like if I can't see where something is going. Chains that hold boys scare me, for example. All of my friends are ridiculously scared of becoming pregnant. 2 of them are gay and in a relationship with each other, though. They wake up in the morning and panic if they feel sick at all or their periods are late, and yet there's no way short of the miracle. I am afraid of crucifixion. No idea why. It is incredibly unlikely anyone I know or myself will ever be crucified. In fact, no one does crucifixion these days. However, sometimes I have dreams of it happening and wake up in cold sweats. It's very strange. Whenever I'm walking on uneven ground, my mind starts thinking about tearing my ACL. I think it comes from playing and watching football and seeing how easy it is to tear. One misstep and boom, 6-12 months of recovery. I'm seriously afraid of being pulled under beds by disembodied hands, specifically mannequin or model hands made of plaster or wood, and covered in gloves. I don't know what would happen if they did pull me under a bed, but it's a highly irrational and stupid fear I've had since childhood and the source of recurring nightmares. I also fear dolls and clowns. I don't fear the dolls themselves. It's the dolls staring at me that gets me. Moved to New England from Texas a few years ago. As a child, I always got strep throat every year. Brother didn't get it every year, but I did. I hate strep. Then I grew up and am now a teacher. I still get it, not every year, but still more than my colleagues. I can tell I have it 2 days before it shows up positive on the swab test. It's a very familiar and awful feeling. So, strep can manifest and, if not treated, can eventually kill you. I'm very afraid that I will be snowed in during a huge storm and will have strep, not be able to go to a doctor, and will die from strep, my arch nemesis. Airplane bathrooms, socked feet. Dropping my phone on the train tracks, and as I go to pick it up or ask an official for help, a train runs over it. Whenever I walk with my phone near a storm drain or a gutter, I always hold my phone really tightly, even if it's just in my pocket, because I'm afraid my phone will fall in the drain. Before I lost my virginity, whenever I dreamed about sex, I would have intense pain in my right testicle. I was so afraid to have sex for a long time until I finally did it and was shocked when there was no pain. Just 45 seconds of yeah, that was fun and all, but was it really worth all of that? Then after that, sex in my dreams was always painful in my right testicle. Every time before I stuck it in, I would always fear a terrible pain in my right testy. When I got engaged and she moved in with me, I learned why. Whenever I would pop a boner in a dream and have sex in the dream, I would move my hand down there and squeeze my legs together, smashing my right nut. My fiance woke me up cause my erection woke her up. She turned over and was going to have some midnight wake up sex, but then was shocked when I was in pain. After that I started sleeping naked. Now whenever I pop a boner during sleep, my body reacts to hers beside me, and it's about 50/50 if she will wake me up with sex or wake me up and tell me to go rub one out. Looking up. Not a fear of heights, but a fear of just like that thought of just going and going and going, and the suspense of just going down but it never happening. Falling or being pushed onto the subway tracks. I've taken the subway in my city since I was a little kid, and I won't go closer than 5 feet from the edge until the train pulls in. For a while I had changed trains at one of the busiest stations to get to work. One day I ended up at the front of a crush of people less than a foot from the edge after the previous train pulled away, and had to stand there for several minutes until the next one came. I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. Birds, except chickens, but they're not birds. They're little dinosaurs. Walking barefoot on grass. Stepped on a bee while I was really little. Wasn't fun, and I imagine all of the blades of grass are stingers until the prickling feeling goes away when I'll lift up my foot. Oddly enough, no fear whatsoever if I'm wearing just socks on my feet. A bird impaling itself by its beak into my leg almost happened while I was working outside a number of years ago, and I never knew I was terrified of it until that moment. Stuck with ever since. Ferris wheels, not heights in general, but only on Ferris wheels. Like, I get that they're engineered and stable and shit, but what the duck? Like giant ducking. Relatively thin poles just spinning a circle of more thin poles. I have zero reason to fear them, but it is disgusting of those freaky machines to be stable and sturdy. Elderly twins. Oh god. Driving behind a truck or ute with logs or poles or pipes strapped to the back. Terrified of them coming undone and ballum. I'm dead. I absolutely hate singular hairs where I least expect them to be. I don't want hair in my food, where in my mouth, where on the counter, where on the floor, or anywhere that isn't attached to a living thing. I find it absolutely disgusting and I go into a small panic because of it. That the big guy who lives in the apartment upstairs will plop down on his couch and it'll fall through the ceiling right above my baby's crib. Jellyfish. Those tiny clear ones completely surrounding me and their jelly rubbing on me has me terrified and claustrophobic. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content bruh. It's free and that's a great price.